Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have our Clash in Paris results and review after a night of pretty long matches. I would say I think every match here on the night got a pretty decent time, or at least more than expected as well. But yeah, after a very crazy night with a very hyped up crowd, how do we feel about the show overall?
Yeah, overall, it was pretty much what I expected, I guess. I remember in the prediction video, I mentioned that there was a lot of 50-50 matches. It could kind of go either way. And, it kind of was a 50-50 card, probably about half good, half mid to bad. So, we'll get into it.
Yeah, we kicked the night off with a big one. That was Roman Reigns taking on Bronson Reed in the one-on-one, where Roman Reigns comes out on top, but he does not leave unscathed.
Yeah, this was a crazy match. This was pretty much what I expected it to be. I maybe thought it would have been maybe a little bit better, but it was just an exciting match, a big moment and big spot for Bronson Reed to be in, to start a pay-per-view against Roman Reigns and to be part of a big storyline going forward with the Shula Fala thing going on. But yeah, that was probably a big point that did go on, is the Shula Fala thing. Roman does get all his shoes back, but like you mentioned, it wasn't for long before he gets kind of obliterated by Braun Breaker.
Yeah, after Roman Reigns is celebrating, he's signing his shoes and throwing him into the crowd as he's on top of the announce table. Braun Breaker comes out, spears him, sends him through the announce table, and he proceeds to get beat down by both Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, getting speared, getting tsunami'd. And then out comes Jey Uso, who will be in a match later on in the night, which will be the main event. He comes out to try to save him, but also doesn't leave untouched either. He gets kind of banged up a little bit. So yeah, Jey Uso going into the main event later in the night, already not 100%, so not a good look for him. But yeah, this match I did enjoy. Like you said, I think this was about as good as it can get with Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. It did feel like a little bit too long. I think the after stuff was fine and stuff like that, but overall 22 minutes for the match itself did feel a little bit long, but again, not bad, and I'm glad Bronson Reed got a big moment with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, like you mentioned, 22 minutes for the match, pretty long, and then after the match it went like another maybe 10 minutes. It was pretty long as well. So probably around 30 minutes altogether. It did feel long. I feel like it did kind of messed the pacing up of the show a little bit, being that long, and then being that the match next wasn't a super exciting match. It kind of left a little to be excited for. But yeah, going into that next match, it is the Wyatt Six taking on the Street Profits. And yeah, the Wyatt Six do get a retain here. Not a whole lot to talk about. It was pretty good, I guess. It wasn't, nothing amazing, nothing you're gonna necessarily remember. There was a little bit of breaks between Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford at the beginning, but they kind of seemed like they kind of got back on track by the end of the match, but maybe we'll see more of that leading into the future. But yeah, maybe a little disappointing that the Street Profits didn't take the titles here, but the Wyatt Six do retain.
Yeah, we had the Street Profits come out in Borderlands gear, dressed up as the Psychos and stuff like that, so little cool there. But yeah, this match, I did, like you said, did wish the Street Profits were to win here. It kind of felt like a win was kind of gonna happen, but unfortunately it didn't. But yeah, Wyatt Six retained. Hopefully this kind of kickstarts them into like a little bit of like the next gear for this title reign. They're not the fan favorite team by any means. There's a lot of teams I think a lot of people want to see the belts on, so hopefully they can prove those people wrong, and continue the reign. But as for the Street Profits, I hope they don't split up, because of I don't know what WWE thinks about Angelo Dawkins. Montez Ford I think is almost proven already to be a great single star if they need him to be, whereas Angelo I think has the potential, but it's more if WWE wants to invest into him being a top big guy, whether he goes heel or Tez goes heel, whatever the case may be. It is going to be interesting, but I just hope if it is a split is on the horizon, that I hope both men walk away for the better.
Yeah, for sure. I love the Street Profits. I think they do amazing work. I think they're one of the best tag teams in all of pro wrestling in general. And yeah, it'd be a shame to kind of see them split up. I would love to see them move over to Raw as a tag team and continue to do some work there. But yeah, a decent match. Hopefully we see the Street Profits kind of head towards that Raw tag title soon.
And then next up, we had the Women's Intercontinental Championship on the line, where Becky Lynch went one-on-one with Nikki Bella, and Becky Lynch comes out on top once again and retains the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, this match I had kind of high hopes for. I really wanted Nikki Bella to kind of come out and show and prove that she can hang with some of the best wrestlers, but unfortunately this match did not live up to those expectations. It was pretty dull. There were some botches in here. It was kind of slow pace. It seems like they didn't really work well together. Like they're just kind of off track with each other, not really in sync or something. But yeah, it wasn't the greatest match. Wasn't the worst match of all time or anything, of course. But there was definitely could have been a lot better from Nikki Bella here, and I do think she does have better matches in her bag than what we've seen here. I don't think this is necessarily who Nikki Bella is as a wrestler today. I do think it's better than this, but yeah, this was definitely not a great showing for her.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird because it felt like this was going to be something that was going to be probably at WrestlePalooza in a few weeks, but now kind of getting, I guess, maybe pushed up or kind of sped up with now being at Clash in Paris. It doesn't seem like the end, but at the same time it kind of does feel like the end between these two, and after the match I kind of hope it is, in the sense of seeing how this match did play out. I don't want to see this again, but if it does happen again, I think it will be better. But yeah, this match isn't going to be something, to talk about the match, but it's one of those things that, during this title reign, Becky Lynch went one-on-one and beat Nikki Bella. So when you look back in the history books, you can say that for Becky Lynch. But yeah, overall, I'm glad that Becky obviously retained. I didn't think anybody expected Nikki to win here, but yeah, I'm glad that Becky still holds the gold.
Yeah, this isn't going to be the last time we see Becky Lynch on this card. And yeah, it'll be a very interesting time when we do see her.
And then next up, we had a good old-fashioned Donnybrook where Rusev went one-on-one with Sheamus, and Rusev comes down on top and defeats Sheamus. This match was one of my favorite matches of the night, if not my favorite match. Just a lot of hard hitting, exactly what you wanted from these two to just hit hard and are going to bring you a lot of intensity from one another. And they did just that, and yeah, I think this match played out perfectly.
Yeah, I think by the end of the match, everyone's kind of goal after the match was to see Sheamus's pale body turn red, and we definitely got that by the end of the match. You see them go through tables, the Donnybrooks, shillelaghs, everything involved in this match with all the kind of weapons that they had with this one. They were all used pretty well in hard-hitting ways. They did a really good job here. I don't think this was necessarily their best match that they had in their series. I do believe that their previous match on Raw was maybe a little bit better. It was more kind of fit their style a little bit more. This one felt like they were going more weapon usage rather than just like crazy moves, I guess. However, we did get a huge white noise off these big barrels that they had set up that was maybe like 6-7 feet high, going off that through a set of tables, and that's kind of what ended up giving Sheamus the upper hand leading into the end of the match, but it didn't pay off because Rusev gets the win.
Yeah, Rusev walking out here on top does feel a little bit weird because this is Sheamus's kind of stipulation. This is, the Irish old Donnybrook, so it does feel weird that Sheamus loses, but I am glad for Rusev. I think this is a great way to kind of say, like, hey, I'm here to be a potential Intercontinental Champion. He has aspirations to be a World Heavyweight Champion. I think that is possible. Not right now, obviously, because you have a Seth Rollins, and Rusev still doesn't feel like, he's able to beat a Seth Rollins just yet. But I do think this is a great way to kick off Rusev's run in WWE. His first big match and first real feud with Sheamus, I think, would say is a success. Now as for what is next for Rusev, hopefully we can see him maybe interact with somebody like a Gunther. He's not doing nothing right now. I think that would be a cool little feud. But yeah, I did really enjoy this match. At one point as well, they had like a table or like a bar kind of setup where Rusev does like a slams Sheamus through it, and I think in the back of Sheamus' head hits like the side of it as well, which looked really bad. But yeah, this match really enjoyed it, and yeah, glad both men put on a banger like usual.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Then next up, we had John Cena's last match in Europe, where he took on Logan Paul, and by no surprise, John Cena walks out on top as the best guy in the world.
Yeah, this ended up being my favorite match of the night. This was a surprisingly good match. I feel like it was mostly carried by John Cena, surprisingly. Going into this match, you would probably expect Logan Paul to be the one doing the big crazy things, the moves that he's never done before, those kind of things. However, it was the opposite. It was John Cena that was pulling out all the old bags from his tricks and moves from other people who inspired him in his previous wrestling career that he's had, of course. And yeah, we've seen the Styles Clash, we've seen Code Reds, we've seen Hurricane Ranas, John Cena absolutely looked amazing. Logan Paul, he looked decent. He played his part as far as, being able to take all these moves and doing things safely in the ring and all that kind of stuff. But definitely still some improvement needed for Logan Paul to kind of keep up, especially with some of the greats like a John Cena, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and those kind of level of people. But John Cena does carry the match, and it was a very, very fun one.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that John Cena is no Ospreay, he's no Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Danielson, but he can still carry a match in a different way. He can still do some of these crazy moves. Obviously, I'm not saying John Cena on the regular does Angel's Wings, Styles Clash, Code Red as well. So this isn't typical for John Cena, but it's something that we know he can do, and we have seen him do it before. But yeah, this is exactly what I hoped for from a John Cena match, where we kind of seen the times kind of turn back. And they even mentioned on commentary like the United States Open run. So yeah, we kind of seen a lot of that here. And like you said, Logan Paul didn't look awful in this match, did what he had to do. But yeah, I'm glad John Cena got the big win, and a good way to kind of end his, I guess, time in Europe in WWE. Obviously, I'm sure he'll show up at one point in time and sometime on the line. But yeah, good way to close out John Cena's final match in Europe.
Yeah, only 8 days left for John Cena, so I guess we'll see who's next for John Cena's final list of opponents.
Yeah, and then now for the main event, we have a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Champion, where CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight all go after Seth Rollins, and to no surprise, Seth Rollins comes out on top, but a new member seems to be added to this Seth Riders, as we like to call him now.
Yeah, nothing official as of the recording of this video. We're going to have to wait until this Monday Night Raw tomorrow to kind of really see if it's official and stamped on paper that this person is official. But we already mentioned the name earlier, so I'm just going to mention now. It is Becky Lynch. She is the big surprise. She is the reveal here. But before we get to that, there was a whole lot of good stuff in between. At the start of the match, we see them kind of fighting through the crowd. CM Punk diving off of the kind of crowd barrier onto CM Punk or onto Seth Rollins and Jey Uso, I believe. LA Knight and Jey Uso and CM Punk kind of had moments where they were teaming up versus Seth Rollins a lot of time throughout this match. But there was a really cool point of the match where they were kind of all about to put Seth Rollins through a table, but sort of out of nowhere, Jey Uso kind of took Roman Reigns' advice from the previous week where he said, don't take any friends in this match to do for yourself. And so he kind of took that advice and ended up super kicking LA Knight and CM Punk as well, and kind of taking them out before they put him through the table, which kind of led to the downfall of Jey Uso throughout this match, because that let Seth Rollins get his breath back, and then he kind of got back into this match and kind of headed more towards the winning position. But yeah, CM Punk had the match won once again, but who do you know? Big black hoodie comes up from behind, but it's Becky Lynch this time delivering the low blow instead of Paul Heyman. So 2 times in a row, CM Punk gets screwed by Seth Rollins. When will he get the big win?
But after the match, a thing that got brought up and something that you have talked about a lot in the past, and that is what is next for this Seth Rollins CM Punk feud. Now that Becky Lynch has kind of, obviously we knew who she was aligned with all along. It was always going to be Seth Rollins if she had to pick a side. But now that, Seth Rollins has a woman on his side, maybe that opens the door for CM Punk to introduce a woman to his side. And I think, like it was mentioned on the after show for Clash, a potential AJ Lee return is on the horizon, something that's been talked about in WWE internally. So who knows what it could possibly happen. But the fact that AJ Lee seems more possible now to come back is definitely one of the most exciting things to potentially happen, if not this year, next year for sure.
Yeah, this is a match that I asked for probably like last year, when the Seth and CM Punk thing kind of first started. I kind of threw this out there knowing I was like, oh, it's probably not going to happen, but hopefully it does, because that would be an amazing storyline. That could be a long-term storyline for the women to be involved that also gets the men involved, and it's a big payoff match that's so big it could happen literally anywhere. It could be at WrestlePalooza, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. It could go anywhere, so it's a massive match. AJ Lee is one of the greats. Whether you love her or hate her, she is absolutely beloved by pretty much everyone that loves the WWE, at least. So it'd be very interesting to see her back. It'd be amazing to see her back and get that big pop and hear what that crowd sounds like, especially in, I don't know exactly where she's from, but in Chicago, I'm sure they'd be just as loud. But yeah, it would be an amazing moment to see her back. And like I said, I threw that out there about a year ago. And the fact that it can actually happen now and it is a possibility does make me excited.
Yeah. But now that all of our matches are done, what was your favorite match of the night?
Yeah, I'm gonna say John Cena and Logan Paul. Surprisingly, like kind of as I mentioned, John Cena did sort of carry this one. Logan Paul wasn't doing the most impressive things during this match, but he was selling pretty good. He did his part, but the ultimate goal of the match, it felt like, was to make John Cena look like a star, and he definitely looked like a star again. And I mean, at the end of the day, he's John Cena. He was gonna look like a star regardless, but this time it just felt a little bit more special.
Yeah, but that would do it for our Clash in Paris results and review. I think our next stop for WWE show is WrestlePalooza in a few weeks, so that's obviously something to look forward to. But yeah, another great show. Paris proven why we should always come back here at least once a year. A great electric crowd throughout the entire night. And yeah, a good overall show. I think a lot of stuff to look forward to going into this Raw. Like we kind of mentioned on the prediction, there wasn't a lot of SmackDown stuff, so SmackDown still doesn't look too great. But Raw, obviously the A show, it's always going to look good. But yeah, a lot of things to look forward to. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you hadn't already, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we will see you guys in the next one.